Welcome back, everyone. This is Jeff. This is day 7 of the 97 Ferrari 355 service. Like I said before, we're waiting on some information on the headwork, and we've got to order parts from Fur Parts yet. We're trying to get a list together before we make our order so we can just make one big order instead of making several different orders and save on shipping and everything. But if you got any Ferrari parts needs, give Fur Parts a call. They'll set you up. But anyway, while we're waiting for that, I've got a few other things that we can do here. I've got the under tray or portion of the under tray here that has damage on it. So you can see here where it's kind of broke out here. So we need to fill in this area, reattach this with some resin and that. So you can kind of see here. Let me get a different view here. Okay, you can see where it's kind of scraped. So we're going to get this repaired up for the customer and see what we can do with this. We're going to try to put a fiberglass patch on this or a repair. But anyway, the first thing we're going to do is we clean this with some alcohol or whatever you've got. I actually used, I think, brake clean on it the other day and wiped it down, took the oil residue and everything off of it because you want to get that, you want to get this thing pretty clean. So, matter of fact, looks like I need to wipe it down a little bit better. But yeah, you want to get this clean, get it cleaned up and free of any debris and everything. Same thing on the inside here. I really concentrated on the inside more because this is really where the dirt was hanging out. So once I get this cleaned up a little bit more, we're going to go ahead and rough this up with something because we need something to adhere to, and the slick surface, the resin in that doesn't like to adhere to when it's slick like this. So you want to get this kind of roughed up, not crazy, but just enough to where the resin in that attaches itself to it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, and then we'll rough it up a little bit. All right? So we've wiped that down again with some alcohol. Like I said, we've taken the residue off of it as much as possible. And then, like I said, now we're going to go ahead and rough this up. Probably going to take like a little bit of a Scotch-Brite wheel and kind of go over it a little bit, all in this area on the outside and then on the inside. Mainly it's going to be on the inside because I want the repair to be more on the inside than the outside. Because, you know, this is not going to be visible. This I'll probably just kind of go around the edge. I'm not going to do too much here. Just enough to clean like the loose fibers up, really, and kind of like clean it up a little bit. But I'm not going to go too crazy on this side. It's the other side I'm really going to concentrate on. So that's my plan. All right, so I'm going to use this little sanding disc I have on it. I think it's like 80 grit or something like that. Lightly. You don't want to go too crazy with that. You just kind of want to do it lightly. Just enough, like I said, just to make it porous to where stuff can stick to it. So I'm just going to, you know, kind of go back and forth with this, and I'll kind of show you here. I don't want to do it because it's going to be loud. It ain't going to take me that long, but I just want to hit all the edges in there, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get done. All right, so we've already sanded it here. I'm going to wipe it down again with some alcohol. Like I said, it's kind of got a little film on it, so you want to get rid of all that. Like I said, on both sides, as you can see here, it's kind of dusty. So we want to get rid of all that film on there and clean that up. Because like I said, that will keep it from sticking properly also. So we're going to take some alcohol and get this cleaned up. And then start with our repair. All right, so we've got our repair area wiped down with alcohol. We're going to let it dry a little bit before we start applying it. This side too, you can see. So I might have to take a clamp or something and clamp this back. I've got some tape. I'm probably going to use some aluminum foil tape that I'll probably use on this side to hold this together while we're doing a repair. What I'd probably do is tape this first, get it in place, do my repair on the inside, then once that cures, then I'll do the finish up work on the outside here. fill it in and build it up a little bit, so we can probably sand it down a little bit as required. All right. All right, so we've got some aluminum tape here, kind of over our repair area. That's holding this other piece back in place, so that's good. Like I said, this is the outside portion of it, the underside, I should say. And then we'll flip this around here and then take a look here, what this looks like here. As you can see, you see like these areas here are covered now. So what I'll do is when I lay the resin and everything here, the fiberglass, it has somewhere to lay and it doesn't spread all around, you know, and then make a big mess. And that's, like I said, it's holding this piece back in here, which is good. I might have to break this off or probably cut that little piece off. But now you can see here it's kind of in the shape that I want. And we'll go ahead and get this resin and everything set up and the fiberglass cut to this size here or shape, and start laying that in there. All right, so I was going to use this fiberglass cloth, but a lot of times this here doesn't form as well. It doesn't take the shape of your part as well as like the mat here. You get this full of resin and it forms pretty good. And we've got this tight corner in here. I want to kind of form it, get it kind of shoved down in there. Where this here is just fibers, and you can kind of break it up a little bit and get it down in there nice and tight. So instead of using this fiberglass cloth here, I'm going to use this mat and then lay it in there. And like I said, this will lay a little bit better with this area. If I had like a big flat area, this would work great. But since I'm in this tight area here, I'm probably going to use this. So I'm going to go ahead and get my resin mixed up and get that ready, and then we'll start applying this. All right, so I've got my resin poured in here, and I've got it measured out. This is 2 ounces. All right, so this says, I mean, read your instructions on the resin that you're using, and this is 10 drops per 1 ounce. So I've got 2 ounces, so it's going to be 20 drops of fluid in there, and then you're going to mix it, and then you have a whatever working time, 10 or 12 minutes working time. So you can't take a long time mixing this. So once you get it mixed, you get, what's it say, 8 to 12 minutes. So you want to get it in there, spread out pretty quickly. Make sure it's mixed thoroughly though, and then spread it out on your material. But read your instructions on the material you're using. It may vary. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and mix it in here. And then from here, I'm going to spread it out using it with one of these spatulas and stuff. So let's go ahead and I'm going to mix this and get going. What I like to do, and you can do something else, some people, you know, take the resin and submerge it in fluid first. I mean the fiberglass, and submerge it in fluid or resin. I mean, what I like to do is like paint the area kind of first, and then I'm going to lay it down in there, and then I'm going to pour resin over it. So you can see here, I kind of got my area painted with resin. So what I want to do here, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this spatula here and just kind of like shove it down. This is going to be hard to do with, I'm going to have to put the phone down, but I'm going to have to work that in there and then pour resin on there and kind of work the resin. And you shouldn't have any air bubbles in there when you're doing this. Make sure you have it down in the corners real good while you're doing that. No air bubbles, because if you have an air bubble and inclusion in it, it makes it weaker. So let me go ahead and, I'm running out of time here. I'm going to go ahead and spread this out, and I'll show you the after effect. All right, so I've got all the air bubbles worked out pretty much. But yeah, like I said, if you see anything like white circles in there, you need to get those out as much as possible. And you just work them out to the edge, just kind of like chase them out to the edge of your repair there. The only bad thing about using the mat, it likes to splinter out like this, whereas the fiberglass panel, it won't do that as bad. I mean, it still does it, but not like the mat. But you just need to work your corners here real good. Just make sure it's sitting down in the corners. And just like that. So you have a nice, square finish, and you don't get any air bubbles in there either. So just kind of keep working that back and forth for a little while. And then, like I said, need to work the air bubbles out. And try not to drag it too much. Because you start dragging the mat, and it kind of tears it apart. So you kind of want to dab at it. I mean, you can kind of wipe it a little bit, but I wouldn't put too much pressure on it. But this is looking pretty good. Like I said, once this dries or cures, we'll trim these off, and then we'll do a little bit of sand in there, and then we'll see how this turns out. We'll take the tape off eventually after it sits a while, and then we'll do some cleanup on the other side. Probably have to put some more resin in there because there's probably going to be some voids from the other side. We'll see how it turns out. Sand it a little bit. Other than that, it's looking pretty good at this point. So basically, I think I'm done, and I'm just going to let it sit here and cure up, and hopefully it turns out great. All right, so I'm probably going to let this sit for about an hour or so. Depends on what's going on. I may come back to it tomorrow, but it should be cured up here at least in an hour. It should cure actually quicker than that, but it all depends on how good your mix ratios are. If you mix it a lot more activator in it, it'll cure quicker. But I don't know. Sometimes mixing more is not always better. So like I said, I use 10 drops per 1 ounce. So do as what the fluid that or the resin that you're using. Read the instructions. They may be different, but the resin that I'm using is 10 drops per 1 ounce of resin. So that's where we're at right now, and we'll come back to it later. All right, it's been a couple hours now, and looks like it's nice and cured, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to pull this tape off on the back side, and I'm going to be gentle with it because you don't want to twist this too much, because if you twist it, it's going to want to disbond. So I wouldn't be getting too rough with it because it's fresh and everything. But I'm going to go ahead and put this up and see if I can get this tape off, and then see what the other side looks like. So here we are. We have this flipped over. I don't know if I'll be able to do this with one hand because this stuff's pretty sticky. All right, that doesn't look too bad. I guess it'd be a little easier if I had two hands, but there it is. So yeah, it didn't turn out too bad. Now what I need to do is I need to put a little fiberglass on this side here, and then like I said, these filled in pretty good. These holes here, you can see a little air bubbles right there, but that's not going to be a problem, I won't think. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Might just put a little bit of glazing over this with some more resin. I'm going to kind of hold this all together, and then I'll come back after I do that and sand it all down smooth and fill these little gaps. I might put like a little hair, cut some up in the resin to give it a little bit of strength. So, but and then this will all be cut out. Once it's all cured, this will all be cut down, trimmed down back here with the sand, you know, with the sander or whatever. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. All right, so I'm going to mix about 1 ounce again. I did 2 ounces the first time. Like I said, this will take 10 drops of the activator here, which these tubes, they don't give you a lot, so that tells you how much you're supposed to use for this whole can. So anyway, I'm going to take some of this again, and I'm going to cut it up into fine strands, and then mix it in here, and then put the activator in there. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So you can kind of see the little fibers in here now that I have all cut up. You know, it'll kind of make the resin stick together a little bit better. And then I'm going to stick the activator in there right now, and then mix it up for about a minute or so. And then we'll spread that back in this area here. We'll just put a fine coat in this area here, and then let that cure. And then hopefully this will be done. And we'll sand it and everything when we get done to kind of smooth it out, and then apply some paint and everything. But it's looking pretty good, actually. All right, so I've spread that out now with the resin with the fiberglass hairs in it. And you can see it's kind of dripping off. I'm not too worried about that. Like I said, we'll clean that up once it cures. But it kind of like fills the voids on this side. We'll kind of blend this all in, and it gives us some material to sand down. So other than that, at this point, it's just waiting for it to cure, which will be, I don't know, half hour or so. I might let it cure a little longer than that because we'll be sanding on it, and I want it to be thoroughly cured before I sand on it. But like the other side, I might see little air pockets in there. I might try to get them out because you don't want any air pockets in there, because that'll leave a, when you go to sand, and then you'll have like a void that it'll create. So, but anyway, other than that, we'll stop here for right now and see what happens when it cures, and then we'll sand it down.